Oh yeah, we're still hanging out at GameHole Con, and we're doing our many interviews. And this is Larry with Guys, Games, and Beer, and I'm with
Rob, and I'm with Guys, Games, and Beer, and I'm with
David Lapp from Pine Box Entertainment.
Awesome. All right, let's get going. Let's talk gaming.
Yeah.
First things first, you got a kickstart going. Let's get started on that.
Let's start with a name.
So it's 7C, city of.
That'll go with it.
So it's 7C, City of 5 Sales. It's an expandable card game based on the role-playing game. For those not familiar with 7C, it was a role-playing game in the late 90s, also a CCG back then. Had a second edition, I think 5 years ago, and the card game now is based directly on the role-playing game.
Okay, so the other day I was digging through my basement, and I was looking for, cards. And I found my pack of 7Cs from, I would say, Gen Con circuit like 92. Is this related to that?
So it's related in the sense that it's the same IP,
Okay.
but we're doing something a little different. So we set it in a city. The original game was boats and ships.
Right.
But 7C itself, at its core, is about heroes and characters that are larger than life. So we wanted to be character-centered between our city deck and the characters. We have 65 in the game, and it's about their story in the City of 5 Sales. So we have you in the city vying for control of the 5 districts.
But I don't get on a boat?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, good.
Thanks, Larry. I really appreciate that. So how many players you got?
So it's primarily done as a 2-player game, but it can go to 4. There's 3 city locations. As you add each player, you add a player. And then we are looking for the expansions to go towards adding the solo play where you fight against the city deck and more multiplayer options where you will see your boat.
So is it you buy a deck and then that's the deck? Someone else would buy a deck and then kind of that tradition. Or is it a whole?
It's a whole set you get. It's a base set's $50. It gives you the city deck you need to play, and it gives you 2 play sets of the neutral cards and 1 play set of all the faction cards. So that allows you to build 2 decks of different factions with whatever cards you want. And then you'll still have neutrals to build more. But we're telling people competitively, if you say there's 2 cards you really like in the neutrals, you can make 2 decks with them, and you can get more boxes to build more or switch between them. So you'll always be able to have 2 competitive decks right out of the box for organized play or kitchen table play, however people prefer to play it.
Awesome. What's the time span? How long are you playing for?
It can go anywhere. I think we put on the box as like a 30 to 60. It's a 5-turn game. So you have 5 days in the City of 5 Sales, but they can be long days because there's a lot going on. So it could be we found the average to be around 3 days, so it hits that mark of the 30 to 60 minutes usually.
Awesome. So for Larry, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah,
I got to think about things.
He does think about things.
Got to think about things. So
is
the artwork drawn from the RPG books in that? Or?
Correct. We're using brand new artists as well as art from the role-playing books.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of familiar pieces for those that know the game. Also, we've contacted some artists from the original CCG to have some throwback pieces. So you'll see some things that might remind you, like, hey, I saw that, back in the card game.
Awesome. What does a gameplay round look like?
So basically, to show you, so that we're going to have this city deck. So this is what we had for Gen Con. We had a pre-launch event with 65 players, and the game wasn't even out yet. So we were pretty happy with that and the response. So we have the 3 locations, the docks, the bazaar, and the forums that start in play. And you add those 2 as additional players come on. So in this city deck that starts in play, we have attachments like the Guild Triskelion and the Captain's Coat. We've got characters like Takama, and we've got events like Siren Scream. So you can interact with the events, you can buy the attachments, and you can hire the mercenaries. Now what's cool about this is it's a straight 30-card deck you don't build that's numbered. So every game's different because it's going to change the flop of options that come up each turn. And as we do expansions and organized play, you'll be able to actually affect this city deck, and it'll change. So we'll have, for instance, the Guild Triskelion can go from 22 to 22A, and you can replace it with a new card that goes in the city deck. So that is a constant, and then you build from one of the 5 factions. This one's Montaigne. For those familiar with 7C, we have Montaigne, Usura, Vadashi, Castile, and Eisen. So those are the options out of the gate. A lot of people are asking about what's going on with Avalon. You will, because they were big fans of Sea Dogs, you might remember. We're going to feature them in factions. We have them in the city deck. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about Avalon. So in each deck, you're going to build a little side deck of 5 characters. So for the Musketeer deck, we've got, for instance, John Urbane here, or Henry Michelet, Bastian Gerard. So you're going to have 5 characters in that and 5 schemes. If anybody has played Game of Thrones, the schemes are just like the plot cards. So you'd put that out to plan your turn for initiative. Card draw gives you an ability. So every turn you muster a character and a scheme. They can go up to the 5 turns. And then the rest of your deck is up to 2 cards of each, either neutrals or your factions. There's 3 ways to win. You can either assassinate the enemy leader, which for this one is Odette. If I can get her card. She is the leader for the Musketeers. They have 2 reference cards in here as well. So Odette, the cool thing about her is the Musketeers can intervene to take damage for her. So you can assassinate the leader. You can
save the queen.
You can control those 3 locations, or the schemes put renown points out. You can get 7 of those, 7C, and you win. The coolest part about the game is a dueling mechanic. How it works is you're going to shoot out combat as threat. So let's say John wants to duel another character, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to shoot out 3 tokens. So best way, without having the visual, describe it as like tennis for volleying, right? So I'm going to send 3 at you. So in response, you have to play a card. So let's say you're going to play Master of Valru style. So each card has 3 values you go through: riposte, parry, and thrust. So if I sent 3 at you, you have a riposte 1. Riposte is sending it back, you're volleying it back at me. Parry is getting rid of a damage, and thrust is generating damage back at me. You have maneuvers and techniques that can trigger. We're going to go back and forth on this. It can result in a duel of some wounds, one person dying or both people dying. And that's the best part about the game, is the combat mechanic. We feel that's the fun part. It feels like you're in a sword fight. We talked to 7C players at Chaosium Con that really felt like you're playing in the world of 7C. So we're glad that we hit the mark of joining the marriage of the role-playing game and the card game.
So far you've shown cards, but you've talked about tokens. Is there actual tokens, or do
there
you bring...
are actual tokens. So in the box, you're going to get over 300 cards, big card pool to start with. You're going to get the tokens. The tokens include the renown points, some faction ones to show you have a location. And the cool thing about the threat and wound tokens, so you send the threat, they're double-sided. So you're going to send threat, and then as you go back and forth on the volley, any that convert to wounds, you turn over. And then they go on the character.
So that's it, they got through that. If they convert to a wound,
you got damage through.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Take damage.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so I got to do the number one. Now that I've seen the art, I want you to mention again who did the artwork for it.
Oh,
I think you mentioned it earlier, but
so Charles Urbach, who's in the hall right now, did the cover art for the 4 Musketeers.
that's some pretty dang impressive artwork.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's got the playmats here and everything, and prints. He's been a friend of Pine Box for a while, and been going back. We're all old L5R fans if you played that, because you had the old 7C game. I got the Scorpion tattoo. Yeah, we have, and for those that don't know, we also make the Doomtown card game. Also an old AEG one that we brought back, and we had a lot of artists involved in that come over to this. So you'll definitely see a mix of new art with the art you recognize.
You said he had playmats. Is it playmats with arts or playmats that help you understand? Like some playmats will actually have placements of cards, and some are just nice to have.
So what we did, so his is more of the nice to have, but we have in the Kickstarter that's live right now until November 4th. there's an add-on for an instructional playmat that goes on the world of Thea from 7th Sea. So you have a map of the world of 7th Sea with spots on the map to where to put your cards. So it acts as an instructional aid.
I think experienced game players, playmats are kind of nice to have. But if you're teaching non-experienced game players, I think the instructional ones are very helpful.
Yeah,
cards go there.
Yeah.
See, the pictures match.
We did that. We did the same thing for Doomtown too. We did a Weird West map with the overlay, which was really nice. We actually took the idea from the Flesh and Blood card game. I had seen a map I really liked from that, and I was like, this could be adapted in a cool way for our games.
How long is this Kickstart going on for?
So we started it this month. I think we got 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks left. So it'll be Friday, November 4th that it ends.
Awesome. Staying on the Kickstart for a little bit here. I always ask, what recommendations would you have for somebody who wants to start a Kickstart on a game?
So there's a lot you have to put into place. Just to give our background, for Pine Box Entertainment, none of us have this as our day job. We started a company literally to save Doomtown. That was the game that we loved. We came on as developers and then licensed the property from Pinnacle. To do that, I would definitely recommend going to Gamma trade show, because we learned a lot of that, of what to do as far as getting the manufacturers in place, getting the shipment in place, all this stuff to say, hey, we knew we had a designer for Doomtown come on board. I was community manager that knew about doing events. We had someone for card layout, but there's a lot of the logistical side that we had to pick up. So I would say you can learn a lot from that. Also hitting up people involving marketing, just talking to people in the industry, because they're all really awesome. So they're all helpful. Studio 2 is our distributor, so they've helped us kind of go on what we had to do, having the warehouse and everything. I would say for this, for the Kickstarter, try to have everything in place that you plan on doing, rather than try to go on the fly during it. If you can get everything down, what you want to do for the updates, who you want to do for marketing, everything like that, and get all that in place before launch, you can show the preview page to people. Don't think you have to tell people about it right away. Probably my final advice is look at Frank West. He does the Isle of Cats games, and he's now president of Gamma. He put out a lot of articles on what to do for Kickstarters. So I would say, his stuff is probably a lot better advice than I can give.
So the game is obviously the best reward, but what's your second funnest reward in your opinion on the Kickstarter?
So I said this to John Zinzer from AEG. He helped us out a lot talking to us, and for me, when I say it's not our day job, it's because we've all been playing games for over 20 years. These card games that we met friends through and had a community through, that I would have never had if not for them AEG making these games. So one thing I want to do is kind of as a give back is creating a community. And one thing that happened when we went to Gen Con was there was a teenage boy that almost made the cut, and he loved the game, and his dad made a post about how he can't stop talking about it. We're helping raise the next generation of card players, and that's the second best thing I would say.
I think that's why everybody does it.
We all win.
Yeah.
Everybody, gamers win, developers win, everybody wins. I like that. All right.
Yeah.
So they want to check you out. What's the website again?
Pineboxentertainment.com, and you want to go to Kickstarter for 7th Sea City of 5 sales.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming on. I
Thank
really
you guys.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it too.